What are people willing to do for money? Since ancient times, people have been trying to find ways to get rich quickly. During the gold rush in Alaska, hundreds of thousands of people rushed there in search of easy money without thinking about what it could cost them and what risks it entailed. Everyone only thought about the wealth it would bring. But the work of a prospector is extremely hard, requiring great endurance and fortitude. Not everyone is able to bear it. It gets even scarier when not only work gets in the way of achieving human goals, but also a huge grizzly bear. What drives him and what makes him take such clever actions? Well, let's figure it out together. The Klondike River became a gathering place for all kinds of people worldwide after massive gold mines were discovered in it. Hundreds of thousands of people began to flock there in pursuit of their golden dreams. Among these was a group of 10 Americans from different states and 3 Indians who knew the area very well. They started upstream of the Klondike and then planned a slow descent down the river in search of gold. They wanted to start early to secure a good spot for themselves. If only they knew how it would end for them. After they reached the city of Dawson in the summer of 1897, no one else saw them. They disappeared without a trace, and no one knew what happened to them until one of them made his way back to civilization. What he said shocked everyone. It turned out that shortly after the men left the city of Dawson, they began to get the feeling that they were being watched. Then, one day, they were attacked by a huge grizzly bear. On that day, the bear killed 2 men and dragged their bodies away with him. After that, the other men were unable to sleep or rest. Every now and then, they saw the huge grizzly bear near their camp, but they couldn't track it down, let alone catch it. Their bear was agile and cunning, always appearing where he was least expected. The people wondered why the bear was hunting them. There was so much game around. Deer ran in herds, but the bear was deliberately attacking the people. The men took turns guarding the camp, but they were missing 1 or more comrades every morning. In a total of 2 weeks, the grizzly bear had killed and eaten 11 people from the squad. Only 2 survived, 1 American and 1 Indian. The men tried to escape the bear, covered their tracks, walked through the water, and moved among the trees, but the grizzly seemed to track their every step and always found them. Whatever they did, attempting to protect themselves, the bear was always 1 step ahead. Finally, the 2 men decided to build a trap for their hunter. They collected huge logs from the forest all day, and then they sharpened them on both sides. After the logs were finished, they dug a deep hole and began to drive the stakes into the ground, hoping that the bear would fall on the stakes and be killed. Many days were spent on this work. Unfortunately for the men, the bear never appeared during this time. When he did reappear, though, the men were ready. They sat high in a tree and waited for the bear. To their surprise and happiness, this time, they succeeded and the bear fell into their trap. And he was severely wounded, but still alive. Now he was lying down and breathing heavily, only now they were able to see him up close. It was bigger than any bear they had ever seen before. After a while, the bear passed away, and what the men could finally see up close shocked them. In the nose of this bear, they saw the remnants of an ingrown ring, which people usually put on animals when they work in the circus to entertain audiences. With this ring, the bear can easily be controlled. It's enough just to pull the ring harder, which brings him unbearable pain and then makes him obey. The same rings are usually put into the noses of bulls so that they can be controlled. So this bear has dealt with humans before. Perhaps he was held captive by people long enough to give him the opportunity to study the habits of people. That's why he knew how to track the men so well. Apparently, he was simply taking revenge on his offenders in such a terrible but peculiar way, destroying all humans he came across for the pain that other people have caused him. After the bear died, the men intended to tell others what they had found. However, unfortunately, the Indian man fell ill with scurvy and died of this disease before reaching the city. The American man was the only one of the 13 who survived. When he told the people his horrific story, no one initially believed him. But then, the man pulled out from his bag a necklace made of bear claws, which he prudently cut off from the animal in case no one believed him. By the size of these claws, one could judge the gigantic size of the animal itself. Only after everyone saw these trophies did they finally believe the man. Who knows? If the bear had not fallen into the hands of people at one time and had not escaped from them, perhaps those prospectors would have survived. We sometimes take the first step towards a series of bad events, thinking that our insignificant steps will make no difference, but sometimes it's worth a little thought about what we're doing and what consequences this can lead to. If each of us is conscious of everything that we do, then those that come after us will benefit.